ladies and gentlemen,
Mr. Ben Sorenson.
this is going to be fun.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So, Gene McKenzie, I just got to tell you, for everybody listening, and this will be a fun one because we're going to kind of bounce back and forth, you and I.
Yep.
We both host podcasts. We're both own businesses. Yeah. We're both raising families. We're doing the thing.
Yeah, man.
So it's going to be fun for us to, I just got to tell you, and then we'll see where this goes. But I just got to share with you how excited I am. One, to finally meet you in person. We were just talking off camera. Like, I feel like I'm meeting an internet friend.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah, it's like a gamer friend that you finally meet.
I was gonna say because the title of my show is Chasing Greatness, but we're in the presence of greatness already, and it's been so cool. Like, part of the reason why I'm so excited to meet you in person, and what I've thoroughly enjoyed about getting to know you, is your perspective of growing a business, doing it the right way, and while you're also still like raising a family and, taking care of yourself and doing all of these things. It's just been, I just got to, like, very sincerely, I just want to tell you, it's been so fun to get to see more of that, happening behind the scenes. Because I think maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, but we called it a brainstorming meeting, just kind of talking about growth. Yeah. And it's so fun for me when I get to talk to people like you that like see the bigger picture and are looking, like, here's what it is you're a true entrepreneur. Like a true entrepreneur.
Sometimes it feels like I'm just getting by, buddy. I think that's part of it, though.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, you kind of you got to jump in with both feet and then just hope you're making the right decisions. But that's part of I think the fun part of it is like building a team of people around you to make sure you're making the right decisions.
Right.
Like you're part of my team now doing the digital marketing stuff. Having a good accountant, having a good lawyer, having a good CPA, or whatever it is, and then like you bring all those people together, and all you're doing is kind of making sure everybody's doing their part.
Yeah. Tell me about that, because I want to hear a little bit of the story about McKenzie Contracting, because your business journey has matured quite a bit. Like even that perspective you shared right there with surrounding yourself with the right people and having all that. Give me the quick version of the early, talk to me about how McKenzie Contracting started and the evolution.
Yeah, man. So the business was formed in 2015, fresh out of college for only 2 or 3 years. I was still working for somebody else, a couple different companies doing construction, superintendent stuff. I was in management, but I started I had an environmental degree, right, from the Eastern Shore. I went to Salisbury and started construction. I got into a management position fairly quick, and then I started seeing all the environmental stuff like Save the Bay, Chesapeake Bay type programs. And I was like, man, shit, like this is a whole industry in itself, right? So formed the business, started doing the environmental construction, stormwater management type work, and hired a crew of guys, made it full-time like 2017, 2018, and really was focusing on the environmental aspect of it, like the stormwater management, environment, like doing stormwater ponds, water filtering, stuff like that. And it slowly kind of evolved, man, because you get into these devices that were completely overgrown with trees, right? And then your customer's like, well, you need to take the trees out. So then you buy chippers and hire tree guys, and then next thing you know, I'm a full-blown tree contractor without even really trying to be.
Right.
Because then once you have the equipment and the labor force to do it, you're all in.
Yeah.
So we did that, and it's been evolving ever since then, dude, just picking up services as we go. And then now I'm at the point where I'm starting to figure out the services that are the most profitable and the most enjoyable, that we're the best at. And I'm trying to just focus on doing those.
Right.
And then kind of trying to, reel it back in on not offering everything to everybody and being more.
Do you feel like, because I'm fascinated with that, I think it's unique, and I think it speaks a lot to the business that you're building.
Yeah.
But even those early days, somebody would have a need, and instead of you saying, we don't do that, or I'll find somebody that will, or whatever, you took the initiative and filled the need.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Walk me through that. Like, what was your mindset on that? Like, how did you, because I think that's common amongst successful entrepreneurs, uncommon amongst most business owners. Like most business owners would run into something like your example of when you were focusing on the stormwater stuff and then running into trees. Mm-hmm. You had the foresight to say, let's get a chipper, let's hire a crew, and offer that as a service.
Yep.
Walk me through that mindset, like the those decision moments.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, because I knew the tree world, right? I knew the tree industry, and I could have subbed it out and just gotten a crew to do it for that one-time thing. But I mean, I saw that there was a need for that, to do it in-house and to be able to jump on it quickly. And at that time, I was just trying to just build the business, right? And you want to bring on a couple crews to make yourself more accessible to, to customers, right? That way you're not telling everybody you're 6-8 weeks out all the time. It's like, yeah, no problem, I'll take care of it for you.
Right.
So, you build 2 or 3 crews up, and in order to really keep guys busy in the trades full time, like, you need a lot of work. I mean, a lot.
Right.
So it's just constantly chasing work, and then as it comes, like, when you do have the opportunity, you turning it down. It's like, nah, I'm not turning it down.
Not in your blood. Yeah.
And it's like that's a change that I'm making here recently, is to slowly just dial in the services that we're the best at, and then not offer everything to everybody.
Do you think you could have gone? Because and that's where my perspective with you has really started. Is now it's like specializing, being the premium, kind of the best in some of these specific services. Do you think you could have figured that out though, with not like jumping on everything early on?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's like trial by fire type thing, man. You got to do it and then realize if it's working or not working, and then go from there. I mean, it's like just literally just learning as you go.
Right.
Learn the hard way, I guess.
Yeah. And there's no way to learn other than by doing.
Yeah. Especially in the trade, like in just the contracting business, right? I hate not being able to do something for, especially like return customers. Like, I'll have a customer that they'll use me for anything and everything just because they like doing business with us. But then it's like, then they start asking about certain services where it's like, man, I know we can't do that. We can't be profitable doing that. And then when you can't do that, that's when customer service really starts to be affected. So it's just a downward spiral at that point.
Right.
Because the job's undersold, or you're not making money on the job, customer service lacks, quality control lacks, and then you lose your reputation real fast. So that's a big reason why you want to try to dial it in. And, and I like customers too that want us to do well. That's the main thing. Is like, you find, especially in the commercial construction world, man, you're dealing with people that are just like email lawyers, right?
Right.
Oh, well, the contract says this. Well, can't do that. Well, I'm not paying you till this. And it's like they're not worried about your success on that job.
Right.
They're just worried bottom dollar. And I just don't feel like that's for me, man. And I'm slowly realizing that. And it took us to get to a certain point in like revenue for me to realize, okay, maybe that revenue number is not as important as the margins that we're hitting at a smaller number, the customer service we're providing at a smaller number. So I'm kind of dialing that back now and just really worried about those aspects of it more so than just a net revenue number.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
Yeah.
It's funny because I worked for a media-backed agency for 11 years. Mm-hmm. And before that I was a commission sales rep. Yeah. And it was funny because, in my corporate world, I was always only measured on and compensated on and incentivized on revenue. Yeah. So that was one, because I'm curious your insights on it, or some of the lessons that you've learned, because that's been one of the hardest things for me as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, is that the top line honestly doesn't matter. But early on, I was so trained and conditioned to that. Like, whatever, we did $1 million or $2 million of top line. There's nothing left though.
I know. And then that's when life gets stressful. That's when your team gets stressed out.
Yeah.
That's when customer service lacks because you're worried about just getting to the next one, or you're
right.
And it's just like
you're sitting there watching yourself lose money as the project's ticking on.
I know. And that's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And I tried, and really I came across those issues after I hired commission salesmen.
Right.
Because my guys are paid off, off of top line revenue. So they're incentivized just to sell more and more and more.
Right.
And it's like now, and then I had to realize that it took quite a bit of management to really dial in how we're selling these jobs, have a, standard operating procedure on how we price them, on, minimum margins that we want to hit on each job. you know, and I mean, I'm not so big. Like my sales team's only like 2 or 3 guys at any given time. It's not like unmanageable,
right?
You know, but it's you can't just not worry about that when you have guys out there that are selling work based off of their paycheck is directly correlated to top line.
Yeah,
right.
And it's funny because everybody thinks that, you know, the business owner or the entrepreneur is like, they see those top line numbers and think that there's all this.
Oh yeah.
You know, there must be so much money floating around. And then it gets to the bottom line and you're like, man. And that's, I think, the hardest thing about owning a business is, you know, we're the last to get paid. And the buck stops with us though. Yeah. When did that start to evolve for you? Like when you started Mackenzie, I would imagine you were doing, I mean, obviously you were selling, you were doing wearing all of the different hats.
Yeah, it was just smaller scale, right? So like I could run 2 crews all day long and get the jobs going, make sure material's there, talk to the 2 customers on the jobs we had going on. And then I'd just go run 1 or 2 leads at the end of the day, maybe 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night, which is fine when you're a certain size.
Right.
But then what happens is you start getting more leads coming in, and then you realize you can't keep up.
Right.
So I found myself, in particular, getting short with people, right? And just not on purpose, just I was like a long day. It's like 7:30 at night. I still got shit to do when I get home. Like, and then you go look, no small talk, no bullshitting with people, and it's just like I found myself doing that, and I was like, okay, I got to change it.
Yeah.
So it's at that point you either scale back or you bring on a team to help you with it.
Yeah. And you chose the latter.
Yeah. Yep.
Talk to me about that of like, because it's so funny. It's why it's so fun to sit and talk to other business owners.
And we're in 2 different worlds, 2 industries, man, but I'm sure it's a similar situation.
So I've got a really good friend. He owns he's a custom home builder.
Yeah.
So you would relate a ton to, you know, his business model.
Yep.
And we go run together probably like once a month, like not a ton. He's a great guy. But we sit and, you know, chat while we're running. And it's funny because we're dealing with the exact same problems, the exact same challenges in totally different industries.
Yeah.
And so it is refreshing for me to learn because, you know, that's one of the hardest parts about entrepreneurship is like there's no advisory board.
No.
You know what I mean? I have no CEO office I can go asking questions and like.
And I don't have a corporate that I could make a phone call to. Like, and that's the thing, like I don't knock people that own franchises. Like if anything, it's like it would be so helpful to be able to kind of build your own team locally, but then have a backing of like a corporate structure,
right?
Of like, hey man, how do I hire this, or what form do I need to fill out for this, or what metrics and KPIs am I tracking on this position? Like, those would be great questions to ask like a corporate structure,
right?
Know? I don't have any of that.
Nothing.
Just rolling with it.
Best we can with the information we've got,
Yep.
And that's what's been so cool about seeing, you know, the growth of Mackenzie is that, and I know that, you know, obviously there's highs and lows along, you know, like anything.
Yeah.
But you've done a really good job, I feel like, of maintaining you've built the brand equity has continued to grow in such a cool way. The quality, you know, and like the reputation and all that stuff while maintaining growth. And I relate to that in so much. Like when I first started Ascent Digital, it was me. And then I my business partner, Brittany. But I've always been kind of the face of the company, you know? Yep. And so, I mean, and your name's literally on the truck.
Yeah.
You know, Mackenzie. And it's such a different reality to live in where it's not only our incomes on the line, it's our personal reputations.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
that's actually a point I wanted to talk to you about. So like I serve my local community, right? Like we do travel outside this community, but 90% of my business is here with people I know.
Right.
You know, like friends and family see my trucks every day on the road, which I think has helped me a lot. You know, just being part of a small town type community and word gets around. Yep, well, Gene can help you with that, whatever. Your industry, you pretty much serve the country.
Yeah.
You have people everywhere. So how do you deal with that? Like, what businesses and like what areas do you target? How do you come up with like, I guess, where do you kind of pursue leads at?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because speaking of how similar but different, you know, the industries are, It's honestly a lot of the exact same thing, you know, that happens here locally.
Yeah.
We've got to do a really good job for people. Like I believe that our path to growth is through happy clients. So we focus 100%. One of our core values is a belief that givers gain. So we believe the way for us to grow is to grow our clients' businesses, to focus on them.
Yep.
And by doing that, then we start to get, referrals. Obviously, as our clients' companies grow, we grow alongside them and whatever. But it's very similar, because you work in the physical space.
Yeah.
So the geographics of it are different, because it's a little bit more confined geographically. Yep. But really, at the end of the day, I think most of it's reputation. Yeah. Referrals, the word of mouth stuff.
Yeah. So I guess the difference would be my reputation or my business's reputation is for my community. Yours is just kind of in your industry.
Just virtual. Yeah. But it's the exact same thing. Like I've got to do right by everybody I work with, because I think that's the most important. I mean, as you know, the most important thing we've got is our reputation. And most of our growth has come from doing right by people. Yeah. Getting the referrals. I actually we landed our first, we're officially international now, but we landed we're working with a client out of Tanzania, of all places. They do these guided Kilimanjaro
you see, man, when I have those numbers call me, I'm like, that's a scam.
So I'm
surprised y'all even picked up.
Yeah, and it was a referral. So we do the marketing for his name's Rich Manley. He's got a TV show, and anyway, he's got a really cool concept. He travels around and does magic and like bridges culture gaps through magic.
That's cool.
And through that, he met this guy who owns this travel tour company in Tanzania. And now we're helping him with his Google ads in the United States to drive traffic for it. So it's funny because it's different in the sense that it's virtual and there's not geographic parameters around it. But honestly, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing.
That's cool, man. Very cool.
Names on the side of the truck too.
Yeah. No, man. I mean that, and to me that just opens it up, right? So what you do for me with the Google ads and the social media marketing and lead generation stuff, it's like in certain zip codes around my service area. So like, how do you guys do it when you can literally service anybody in the world? Yeah,
usually what we try to do is find industries. Yeah. So we're, and home services is a big one. You get to work with us, so you've seen some of that, but we figure out the formula that works really well in different verticals, and then we can apply that elsewhere. So like a lot of home services businesses, dealerships, like automotive, motorcycle, tractor dealers. I call it kind of the health and wellness space.
Fitness world.
Yeah. Like the fitness stuff, med spas, stuff like that. But basically it's actually a lot of like how you're figuring out the services that you're best at and then doubling down on that.
Cool. So you guys kind of are dialing in what industries
on the industries
you want to work with.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was, it's speaking of like the entrepreneurship thing, but I joined a marketing mastermind group, and it's been incredibly helpful because I went to this conference, I met all these people, and it's like, oh my gosh. But there's finally now, I feel like I've got a little bit of a community where I can ask people questions and learn stuff.
That's huge, man.
It's huge.
I mean, even just having a conversation, because I belong to a couple different of those just business masterminds. Just meet once or twice a month.
Yeah.
And just run questions by each other. And I think it's helpful just talking to like-minded people that are either dealing with or have dealt with the same bullshit you're putting up with, And it's just nice. It's like reassuring to know you're not the only one dealing with it.
Yeah. Like, misery loves company, right?
No doubt, man.
But and honestly, and the way I've thought about it, and it's like, I hope I don't come across as like, I don't know, arrogant or anything, but you want to be the dumbest guy in the room, Yeah. And when you're running the company, you've got to project this confidence. Like you have to be helping with the answers.
Sure.
Those groups, I get to be the dumbest guy in the room.
Right.
And it's so like we went to this conference down in Arizona with myself and Brittany, who I think you've met, my business partner. But I was telling her I'm going into it with the mindset that I don't know shit about shit. I don't know anything about anything.
That's the way to do it, man.
And just taking notes. And
the truth is, there's always a bigger fish out there that has done it, and he's done it 10 times better than you. Even in my world, like being able to talk to guys that I don't know if I'd necessarily call them a mentor, but it's just somebody that has done what I'm doing now 20 years ago.
Right.
And he's gotten through it, and he has the answers, and it could save me 2 years of heartache.
Right.
If I can just talk to this guy about it.
Was it hard? Was it hard for you? Because I had to swallow a bit of a pride pill because, I was pretty proud of the business that I was building, and but I also knew I didn't have all the answers, and I had to like change my mindset of going into it knowing I got to kind of be willing to change or scrap some of that. Yeah. Is that a challenge for you to, I don't know, like be willing to take insight from other people?
Yeah, because I don't know if it's ever, like, the conversations I've had have never been like, okay, well, this is how you do it. This is bottom line, do it this way. It's always been like, well, this is kind of how we're structured. This is what I got on my team. Like, this is the challenge I see with it. Like, do you have any advice for me?
Right.
You know? And, like, a lot of times on my end, it's like financial advice, right? Like payment terms on big jobs, how to structure contracts, like to get draws, or if you're dealing with a commercial customer that you're, $250,000 out of pocket on shit before you ever see it sent. Like that's big decisions to make,
Right.
And that's like the scary part of trying to grow into a larger contracting business is the financial side of it.
Yeah.
It's not whether or not I could do the work. It's just whether or not I can afford to do the work.
and have a little bit left, hopefully.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's funny
because it's a cash flow thing.
Right. Oh, gosh. Don't even get me started about cash flow.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's interesting because I've got a degree in marketing. In high school, I competed at the national level in business services marketing in DECA. Oh, cool. Yeah. I live and breathe it. Like it's the one thing I'm good at, know? Yeah. So I thought that running an agency would be easy. It's all the business stuff it's to your point, it's like, how do I structure that, or what do I need to be doing here or there or whatever. And I think that, for most entrepreneurs, I'm curious a little bit how it's related to your story. We know a lot about a thing that then we turn into a business, but then we got to learn how to run the business.
100%. Yeah.
Whole different world.
So what I've had to do is train my team to be able to do aspects of the business while I learn how to run a business.
Yeah.
Like you guys deal with like the day-to-day, like order material, deal with vendors, negotiate terms on contracts, sell work, hit monthly numbers. Like it's y'all's job now. Like I need to focus on making sure we have the structures in place and we're holding everybody accountable in the places we need to hold them accountable.
Right.
To where this whole fucking puzzle works.
Right.
Like that's my job now.
Is that a hard transition? Because you're a little bit more mature in your business, journey than me, and I'm trying to learn that. Like my dream would be.
Well, don't get me wrong, dude. Like I'm not fully away from those conversations.
Yeah.
Like I joke with the guys all the time. Like my attention just goes to whatever fires the burning the hottest.
What's most emergent.
Right. Yeah. And so like one day it'll be like this crew's falling apart, foreman and all the guys are yelling at each other and shit. So I'm like on the operations side, like trying to figure that out. And then the next day it's like, okay, I'm dealing with dump truck has a new motor and mechanic's been working on it for way too long. Truck's down. Out of service. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, sales team's not hitting their numbers.
Right.
Like, what the fuck's going on, guys?
Right.
So it's like just my attention shifting to problem to problem to problem.
Yeah.
And then you try to just steer them in the right direction, let them figure out the problems, solve the problems while I go back to looking big picture.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's that been like getting the teams in place and transitioning some of that stuff? Because
it's hard in my world, man, in construction. It's tough, like, because you have, it's not like I don't know, like it's just not a very glamorous fucking industry. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now it's hot as hell.
Right.
105 with like, 80% humidity.
Gosh, and the humidity.
Yeah, it's got to be horrible for you.
Yeah, dude, I'm struggling.
So like, you get guys that think they want to do it, but then they do this for 6 weeks. They're like, yeah, man, this ain't for me.
Right.
So it's just, you got the turnover rate there in the field. And then it's also the guys that want to work in the office. They think it's something, but it's because you still have to have knowledge of what goes on in the field.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The construction world's tough. But I mean, I've done pretty well though, keeping guys because I think it's because you give them accountability to kind of run with it. You say, look, man, this is the expectation. It's your job to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
This is where we need to be as a team. And then once you figure out how you're going to get there, we'll talk through it. And then if I need to make changes, I will. But this is what I need from you.
Right.
And, it kind of gives them a little bit of ownership in the directive that you give them, I think that's a big part of it. Not just barking orders all the time, but just sharing the vision, telling them where you need them to be by what time, and then let them figure it out.
Yeah, it's like you're aligned with the destination.
Yeah.
And there's guardrails kind of, like, I don't know, some direction or parameters.
Yep.
And then what happens in between is up to the team.
Up to the team.
Yeah, that's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah. But it all has to flow though. And like we have to be making, like you can't just give them an unlimited budget, right? Like, if everybody had unlimited funds to do everything, it'd be easy to grow a business, right? So like,
all I need is like $1 million.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, if you had everything at your disposal all the time, it'd be a piece of cake.
Yeah.
It's like being able to figure out how to do it within your means.
Did you start McKinsey with investors, capital, or have you been bootstrapping this whole thing?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And you've got a very overhead heavy, like all the equipment you've got to buy.
Yeah, and I got a lot of payroll too, man. Like, I think I'm running like 32 guys in the field.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dump trucks, equipment, mechanics. I mean, shit, my fuel bill is like $20,000 a month.
Right.
Just in diesel fuel.
Right. Yeah. What gave you the courage to start then, and why in this industry?
I joke all the time, man, like with Jimmy and shit. I'm like, dude, if I was a little smarter when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have got into this industry, I would have just figured something else out that's not as risk heavy and, not so overhead heavy all the time. But, now I'm so far in it. This is what I'm doing.
This
is what I know. I know how to make money doing it. Is what it is.
No plan B.
No plan B, buddy.
It's funny when I told you I'd worked at that media-backed agency for 11 years, and I'd kind of climbed the corporate ladder. When I left, I was the director of digital revenue. So cool. I was in charge of all of the digital revenue for all of the different brands. So there was like a newspaper division.
So that's hard to leave a job like that to start your own thing.
And that's the thing.
I never had that luxury. I was just always kind of like middle management and construction. Very easy to replace that income doing your own thing.
Right.
I never had like the corporate salary, corporate structure, like
at the corner office. The whole thing.
That's hard to leave.
And my wife was pregnant at the time, and I walked away from not only the salary and the stability, but the benefits, all of it. And it's funny because when I look back, if I'm being totally honest, naively optimistic. Like which is probably a blessing, because I cluelessly thought that I would just crush it and it'd be so easy. Yep. Which obviously I had to have had that belief for me to, quit the job.
I think a lot of confidence comes with being naive.
Yeah.
At some point, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if you knew every in and out and every hardship you were going to face, you'd be like, yeah, fuck that.
You'd be frozen.
Not doing it.
It's not uncommon. I say it somewhat tongue in cheek, but I'm like, if I had any idea how hard this would have been, I don't think I would have done it. And that's probably actually sincere. So it's like I'm grateful for how clueless I was.
Yep.
Like I didn't know enough that I did it anyway.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And then it's like that's all I know. Yeah, like there's no.
Yeah, now you're stuck in it.
There's no plan B.
How old are you?
I'm 35.
30. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm 36. And same deal. It's like, well, I'm in it now.
Yeah. There's no pivoting at this point.
No.
No. Yeah. It's so tough.
I know. And it's funny. Like I was in a similar situation where I formed the business in 2015, took it full time 2017, and then like just a few months after I did that, made the leap of faith to do it full time. Wife was pregnant, first child on the way. I'm like, oh shit, man! Like, here we go.
Yep.
It's sink or swim, man.
Yep.
So
and it forces it, and it's crazy because you find a way. Like
have to
over and over and over again.
Yeah, no doubt.
Find a way. You've got 2 kids.
2 kids.
Yeah. Are they going to be in the industry? You think? I know they're young.
Yeah, they're still really young, man. But yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I joke all the time. My boy, he's 5. I'm like, yeah, he's going to get his driver's license in a 10-speed dump truck.
Yeah. So. No choice, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep. What do you think? Like, do you come from a entrepreneur family? Were your parents entrepreneurs?
No. Mom's a teacher, and my dad, he worked in the building supply industry for a long time.
Way cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely I was familiar with the construction world, and then after college, kind of got into it, and quickly became like a superintendent, like middle management, like in the field type management, and that's when I kind of saw full circle how my education and the construction industry around here could go hand in hand. And that's when I decided to do it.
So 2015, we're 10 years in now.
Yeah.
You take a step back, look at it all. Is it bigger than you expected? Smaller than you expected? Like, are you surprised with how far it's come in 10 years?
And I think you kind of get numb to the growth, especially like the numbers, right? Like the just the amount of numbers I look at and the money coming in, the money going out. If I were to like share that with other people, they'd be like, damn.
Yeah.
You know, like big numbers every week or every month or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but like it just slowly grew over time, little by little. So like you just kind of get numb to it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't look at it like that anymore.
Right.
But then I catch myself talking to those mentors there that run businesses 10 times the size of mine. And then to listen to their numbers, I'm like, damn, like, how'd you get to that point?
Yeah.
Same deal, though. After 40 fucking years, you're like, I don't know, man. It just kind of happened. You know?
Right, right. I just didn't quit.
Just don't quit. Yep.
Do you feel like, because, I mean, gosh, I would love to, you know, obviously, like, there was a day a while back, I walked into my office, because I remember when I first started Ascent Digital, I was thinking how cool it would be to have an employee someday.
Yeah.
Like I remember thinking like, man, it'd be really cool if I could be successful enough to employ somebody.
Right.
You know, like and then the other day I walked into my office, I got there early, and I think you've seen it on video, but we've got a pretty cool space built with like glass walls, and it feels like an agency in there.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it was just like, oh my gosh. Because it's so hard and stressful, and like, you know, like you said, it just like kind of happens. But it was a cool moment for me of like, look what I built.
Yeah.
Like it's a thing now. You know? It's by no means, and I think I'm finally to the point now where my company doesn't feel fragile. Like I'm finally, and this is very recent, like to the point where I at least know it's not going to go away. Yeah. You know?
You might hit a bump and got to scale back a little bit, or you might blow up and have to really gear up really quickly. But you're right, like you're at a point where it's not going to just like disappear overnight.
Like it's a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Do you feel, so now, because, you know, you're, like I said, you're more mature in your entrepreneurship journey than I am. Do you feel, does that like growth, comfortability thing ever go away? Or do you, is it just a different version of it now 10 years in?
Yeah, no, and I think that's what kills people, man. Kills business is like you lose the motivation, right? And like it's very easy to get to a certain point making a certain amount of money, having a certain size house or no debt or whatever your situation is, and just be like, I'm good. But like, fuck that, dude. Like that's where you could just, that's where you go backwards. Like if I'm a firm believer, if you're not trying to grow it, it's dying.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not saying you got to set the world on fire and double in size every year, but you got to at least, if anything, do it for your team. Right. If you have a solid team of people around you that want a career and they want like to be able to excel in their career, it's your obligation and my obligation to give them that opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you got to at least grow it enough where everybody can make a little bit more money in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years or whatever it is. You know? Right. So that's kind of like where my obligations fall now. Is that if I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for the people,
for everybody else. Yeah. Like your dreams have to be big enough to fit other people's dreams within it.
Yeah. And I think it's important to have a vision that you share with the team, you know, and then align goals and say, look, man, if your vision in your role right now doesn't match what the company's vision is, then we got to reassess. Right. You know,
where does that growth mindset come from you? Like, because you've even mentioned a few times now, like, I mean, joining the mastermind groups and starting the company early on, and then introducing the tree service, you know, after those first few years, and like even now, you know, 10 years in, kind of having that growth thing. Gene McKenzie, like where does that mentality? Have you always had that kind of growth mentality? Where does that come from?
I don't know. And it's not money. Like it's not like I'm doing it to like make more money every year. Like to be honest, like my salary doesn't really change.
Right.
Like if we are more profitable one year, I'm giving myself a bonus at the end of the year, but I pay myself the same. So it's not like monetarily motivated, I don't think. I think it's just a matter of like, I don't know if I could ever deliberately go backwards, just because it's like then you feel like you're not giving everybody that you're employing an opportunity to do better. You know, so like that's kind of where my focus has shifted, is just towards building a team and doing right by them, and then also with my customers, right? Like I try to be very responsive to the people we work for. You know, and we pride ourselves on that. All my guys know that. Like, you know, they see the same customers over and over, the same inspectors or engineers or whoever we're working for, and they're like, okay, yeah, well, we want to keep him happy. He gives us this much work. Like, it's a good working relationship.
Right.
And I mean, that's important to not just me, but the guys in the field, you know. And it's hard, too, to find customers that have your success in mind also.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm a customer of yours. I wouldn't nickel and dime you and beat you down so bad where you're not making any money, or
right.
like you don't even want to jump on a call with me because, like, damn, what's he going to bitch about this time? Like, that's not good. Like, you know, like you want to work with people that are, it's a mutual benefit on the relationship, you know.
I wonder sometimes, because which, by the way, thank you, because I appreciate you as a client.
Right, yeah.
I think, because I try to be a good client, you know, like for whoever it is that I'm, you know, that I'm working with, or a good customer or a good patient, whatever. I just the other day, I was on the phone with my banker, and we're restructuring our line of credit. And I told him as I'm wrapping it up, I'm like, let me know, man, I want to be a good customer, like, you know, whatever. And I wonder if that perspective that you've got, if some of that has come from wearing the entrepreneurship hat and like seeing how challenging the other dynamic can be. Because I never thought of it till just now when you say that, but like I definitely actively try to practice being a good customer too, you know, like a win-win or no deal type of thing.
Yep, no doubt. And I think it's just a communication thing, man. Like like a couple weeks ago, like send out an email or a text, hey man, leads are down maybe 15-20% from the previous couple months. Just checking in. What's up? Do I need to do something different? It's a team effort here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that just goes a long way.
Yeah.
Rather than just pointing fingers and yelling. And
right.
And that's what I get in my world, man. I get frustrated on these commercial projects. Like, because it's like everybody's there are just like low bidder, don't have any margin on the job.
Right.
Everybody's looking for a change order that they could try to make a couple bucks off of. And it's like, man, that's not any way to do business.
Right.
You know, I just don't enjoy it. Now, if we go do something for somebody local at their home or whatever, they're super pumped about the project. They're more than happy to pay for it. They're offering the guys water. You know, it's like a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
Like,
you're
it's just
making
better.
an impact. You can see the impact happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I relate to that so much. I mean, one of the coolest things about my job is when I get to hear, you know, the impacts we're making on the businesses we're working with. Like it's so much. I appreciate that way more than, you know, any check. When it's like you get to actually be a part of something and grow something and, you know, make an impact. Yeah, I relate to that a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's and it's fun too. And then it's a challenge every day to, you know, figure out problems on the fly, make sure it's all working, make sure everybody's getting along and doing their job. You know, it's challenging, and I think it's a fun challenge.
You think it's fun?
Sometimes, yeah.
You're telling me the truth?
Yeah, I think so. If I didn't, I wouldn't have continued to grow it.
You
like
couldn't.
No.
Yeah, we got to have a little fun along the way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, gosh, the entrepreneurship journey is just so challenging.
It is. It's tough. I don't know. I mean, and I don't know much about your world. If I had to guess, like, what's the dynamic with the people you employ or you hire? Is it? I would assume it's like office people, really tech savvy. They understand the online world. I mean, but do you have a lot of people that want to work remote or? Like, you know, I don't know how that goes. My world is like, no, you're here every morning at 7 o'clock. Like, that's the way it goes. Like,
we've got a lot. Everyone wants to be remote. I'm a big culture guy, and I really like the team, you know, team building, the team dynamic type stuff.
Yep.
So the way we've done it is we have work from wherever Fridays, so that the team work from wherever they want on Fridays. But Monday through Thursday, we try to be, you know, in the office and as much as we can.
Sure.
But it's a tough world because I'm hiring a lot of young people, you know, a lot of, and in a lot of cases, they know more about the thing than I do, you know, that I'm hiring them for.
Yeah.
And so I've had a lot of really steep learning curves on how to structure that. And one of the things that I've run into that's been really hard for me is it's called a utilization rate, but it's basically like when somebody's truly at capacity or not. And I struggle with it. I've struggled with it in a huge way in our video department because I don't know as much as I should about how long things really should take and, whatever. And that's where like this learning curve of business ownership is so steep. But, I've made so many mistakes in terms of like hiring people, overworking them, burning them out.
Yeah.
But the alternative would be we don't make any money. And so it's such a hard balancing act of like, I gotta bring in enough work that everybody's jobs are stable, that everybody can, continue to make their livings, not overwork them to the point where they get, burned out. Yeah. And because of the nature of my business, it's so hard to measure that because some stuff is efficient. Like some stuff it's pretty, other stuff isn't. And so that's been one of the hardest things. And so one of the things I'm trying to do now is track it better, like, time tracking and stuff like that. But it's an art, not a science.
No doubt, man. And I just recently had a conversation about this, like hiring young people that you have to train and like kind of feel like you have to get them up to speed when they come. You might get them for like, industry standard, whatever the price is.
Right.
But then if you hire somebody with 15, 20 years experience, that might cost 3 or 4 times more, but they're going to come in and automatically be not only on pace with what you're doing, but they'll be able to make it more efficient and show you shit that you didn't know and then kind of really set the new standard for how you're operating. And you might pay them 4 times more, but you're going to see a 10x return on
it. But it's so hard. That's such a hard pill to swallow at first.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big mistakes I made is I hired a lot of entry-level people early on. And they were great people.
Did you hire them entry-level because they were cheaper or because you wanted to be able to kind of guide them on how to?
Because they were cheaper.
Just because they're cheaper.
Yeah. And then now we've learned A players are nobody. You know what I mean? Like and so we've got to pay premiums for the right people. And then try to get out of their way as best we can. Like, you've met Ryan, our client success manager. But I was like, dude, teach me about proper account management and all that stuff. And it's been so great. Like he's helped us with systems and.
I'm at that point now too, man. It's like I'm only hiring people that can do their job better than I can.
Yeah.
And like in the field, I realized that really fast in the field, right? Like with the tree situation. The guys that I have in the field cutting trees, I have no business running a chainsaw when them guys are around. Like they just do it better than me.
Right.
And so that's like that was a no-brainer. It's like, man, shit, like Jose can do this shit 100 times more efficient and safer than I could do it.
Right.
Let him do it. So it's like, why not take that same mentality to the office?
Yeah. How come you think that's so? Why do you think that's so much harder in the other roles? Because like same thing for me, like web developer, no brainer.
Right.
You don't want me to build your website. No. I'll ruin it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can't think of anything worse for me to do.
I know.
But then for my world, it's more of the like account management, sales, customer service, that stuff. I wonder why that's harder.
It's harder to replace, or it's harder to have that mentality with the office world.
Yeah.
I know.
But there's an argument that it's more important.
Truck drivers. I have CDL truck drivers in these dump trucks. I have a CDL. I'm not a very good truck driver. I don't do it every day.
Right.
So you hire people to do that a lot better than I could do it. So it's like.
It's interesting because. Yeah, same. I wonder why. And then, those are, again, lessons learned the hard way. But I will say, and I wonder if you've experienced something similar. There was a chapter in my life where I was pretty, hard on myself with mistakes I'd made. I mean, like after I went to that first agency mastermind conference, I was just like almost embarrassed about, mistakes I've made or how I run things or whatever. But I've come to the conclusion now that there isn't another way. Like the only way to learn how to do the thing the right way is to do it the wrong way enough times, Sure. So I'm trying to give myself some credit or some grace or patience or whatever you call it for fumbling my way through it, And so I don't know. I just feel like for a while I was trying to find shortcuts to that stuff, like do it faster or learn it quicker or whatever. And I've come to the conclusion that literally the only way is to just keep going.
Yeah.
Make the mistakes over and over and over again.
You have to learn from the mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing too. I'm learning that now, like with the commission sales reps thing, right? I made the mistake of putting people in that role, didn't really have a standard on how we operated, or didn't have checks and balances before certain size projects were sold. It's all very important shit, man.
Right.
You know, you only learn that the hard way.
Once you have to.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that ever goes away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. You know, it's like you said, you've got those people in the group that are, you know, been in the business for 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
And they're probably still
dealing with problems.
It's just that it's different problems, but.
Yeah, it's just like that guy that's 65, been doing it for 40 years. Nothing surprises that guy.
That's it. That's what's fun. It's not that it goes away. It's that it doesn't shake you anymore.
Yeah. You just get numb to it.
You're like, another Tuesday.
There it is, man. Just another day.
It's so funny. Yeah, that's exactly. Like, I used to panic about cash flow.
Yeah.
Like, all the time. I'd be like, you know, like we've got our own payroll, you know, this week or whatever. And there's not enough in the account, but there will be by Thursday. You know what I mean? It's like, and I don't even stress anymore.
So that's one of the roles. I still do all of that, right? So invoicing, receivables, like, and then my wife does all of the accounts payables, but like not until I approve them to be paid.
Right.
So like really, like still all the cash flow comes through me. So like that's one of those things. I know there's probably somebody out there much more financial savvy than me that could do it a lot better. Then I wouldn't have to have a heart attack every time. Like, but it's like that's a hard one for me to give up. You know.
Yeah. Do you think you should?
I don't know. Like part of me wants to say yes and like have an office person that just does, I guess, just the financials and make sure the money's flowing the right way. I don't know if you call that like a CFO.
Or a
accounts payable, accounts receivable person.
A controller. That's what I need.
Yeah, like an office controller. But I would still have to get a report a couple times a week just for my own sanity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I haven't made that leap yet.
Yeah. It's so tough. Those are those same things.
Yeah.
Talk to me about goals, because, you know, we talked about how, you know, obviously, and I just wanted to mention too, I really liked that perspective of, it's almost like you believe that there's you can't be stagnant. No. Like you're either expanding or contracting. You're either growing or shrinking.
100%, yeah.
You know, growing or dying, as you put it, which I think I think there's truth to that. Like there's no.
Expanding, contracting is probably a better term.
Yeah. There's no such thing as stagnant in business. If there was, obviously, we'd find that and stick with it.
Yep.
But obviously, so, you know, with that being said, like obviously the growth has to continue. Do you set goals for yourself, or how do you perceive?
Yeah.
Like what I'm trying to get at is 10 years now, you know, we're looking at this great business that you've built. What do you hope you're seeing 10 years from now?
Yeah, 100%. So we have, well, first of all, I do like personal, professional, and financial goals, like the PPF goals with not everybody in the company, but definitely my management team and the guys that are in positions to help me get to a certain point, right? And I got to make sure their goals align with the company goals, not only for next year, but for we try to do that. Like we have a 10-year goal, but that's going to be very fluid,
right?
You know, just kind of see how it goes. Like if we hit our 1-year goal, or if we miss it, like say we missed the 1-year goal by a little bit, maybe we adjust it back a little bit. But if we, you know, blow it out of the water, then everything kind of continues to get bigger. I don't know. Like I want to say, yeah, I think we're going to get bigger in revenue. But I really want to focus on kind of dialing in our niche services and just really in the next year or two focusing on customer service, higher margin work.
Yeah.
And maybe not so much growing revenue-wise, but having better margins and more repeat business.
Yeah.
Instead of, because my world's tough, dude. Like the reason you're so important to me is I'm always chasing the next lead,
right?
The next one. Like I don't do a returning service every month,
right?
Like grass cutting, they kind of know what their customers are and what their workload is next month. I don't have that. We go do a one-time job for somebody, and then you're finding the next customer,
right?
And that's gone. Next customer, and it's just it's like repetitive, and it wears you out.
Yeah. I never even thought about that. Obviously, now you say that, like, of course, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, because like mine's a lot of that, like longevity relationship based stuff, which makes it high risk, high reward. Mm-hmm. Like if I lose an opportunity, I'm potentially losing, you know, lifetime worth of
lifetime
business out of
customer,
that. Yeah.
Now, like if I go do a $30,000 patio for somebody, we kill it. They're super happy. Job looks awesome. Yeah, we're going to have their return business, but it might not be for another 5 years.
Right. It's when they need it.
When they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So the which I like though, that like specialization mindset to it.
Yep. But it's very demanding, especially on the sales team,
right?
Because you're just constantly just finding new people.
You want to know what it is? It's because you got to be able to say no.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I think is one of the hardest things as business owners now. Like
100%. Yeah. That's how this conversation started earlier. Like I was just taking on all the work, just doing different services for a bunch of different people. And now it's like, okay, I'm at a point now where I'm comfortable with the size, with our team, start dialing it in. And what I've gotten to the point of doing is saying, okay, well, I can't do that for you, but I'm going to refer somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you just build like a business-to-business network of people that you work well with.
Right. But saying no is so hard.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
I walked away from my first opportunity recently, and it was sizable. Yeah. But it was one of those, like, I was proud of myself because I finally, like, paid attention to the red flags. Because I always justify, I'm like, oh, but they could be good, they could be better, they could be easier if we do, like if this happens, it could be fine. And my whole team was like, dude, we cannot work with that person. And I'm like, all right, no problem. And it was so hard for me because what I've learned, and that's some of those mistakes I've learned in my hiring, is that if I say yes to everything, then you don't realize it, but it's kind of like a non-line item cost. Or opportunity cost, I guess is a better word for it. But you're so consumed in that stuff, that low margin project or the one that, we underbid on or whatever.
Yeah, so you're losing money on this job here, and it's taking so much of everybody's attention.
That you can't focus on the good one.
You can't focus on the good one and give them 100%.
Right.
Like it's bullshit. I mean,
and it's way more expensive than I think we realized. And I had to learn that the hard way. Like just giving stuff away, way undercharging.
I'm still learning that.
Yeah, same.
Because you get to a point where you have payroll and all this, like all these truck expenses, equipment expenses, and fuel expenses, and then you just got to feed the machine sometimes.
Right.
So you take on work you probably shouldn't take on just to keep everybody moving all the time.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the next evolution. Is that like. Because I get into that cycle. It's like, oh, I got bills to pay. Like I'll take that project or I'll take that, whatever. And then I think we rob ourselves of the other opportunities that we really want.
Yeah. Teams
at capacity, or we don't have the energy for it, or we're not looking for it because we're head down on a project we should have never taken in the first place.
100%, dude. I'm in one of those projects right now.
Really?
Yeah. It's taking so much of everybody's attention. We won't see any money from it for probably 60 to 90 days. And it's just a constant argument all the time.
Right.
It's like, dude, why are we doing this?
What are we even here for?
Right.
Yeah. I've told my business partner that before. I'm like, if I'm not going to make any money, I at least want to not be working.
100%. Yeah. If you want to stay broke at home.
Yeah.
Don't come to work not to make money.
Right.
I know, dude. And I think it sounds like we're on a similar path, though, to learning that. It's a hard thing to learn.
Yeah. But that's why it's so fun to get to, have guys like you. Because, we're, like I said, like we've talked about a few times, we're in different industries, but like being in each other's corner, it's so nice.
100%. Yeah. You got to have people you can bounce just thoughts off of.
Yeah.
No doubt, man. Well, look, we're about an hour in, dude. Anything
I think
else
we're about there.
Touch base?
No, I just want to tell you thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Because it's been so, I don't know if you know that or not, but I get to learn a ton from you. And it's so valuable for me. Like I appreciate you a ton as a client, obviously.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
But it is
Hopefully
so.
It's not for me asking all the questions.
No, you've got. That's why you're like the ideal. You're ideal because you've got this great growth mindset. You ask questions. You treat us as a partner, which is just incredibly refreshing. But I don't think you realize how much I'm learning from you. Like the questions you're asking, the way you're looking at your business, and all of that stuff. And so I want to thank you for it because it's so cool to see. It's just cool to see. I mean, I've only been in your world for a short time now, but it's inspiring. Like I'm learning a ton from you. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you thanks.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I appreciate it. I mean, you guys have been a valuable asset to us too. Hopefully it's a working relationship that we both benefit from. for a while.
A win-win.
All right, brother.
Let's grow together, all right?
All right, man. See you, buddy.
Thanks, Gene.